Is Mr. Garcia.
Thank you, Chairman and Ranking Member, and thank you, Mr. Bedford, for being here today. From the deadly collision over DCA nearly a year ago to our air traffic controllers feeling the squeeze of the longest government shutdown in history, our national airspace system has been under considerable strain. I look forward to working with the FAA to hold our aviation community to a higher standard of safety. In that spirit, my first question focuses on aircraft minimum crew standards. Earlier this year, the FAA approved American Airlines' request to operate its new Boeing 787-9P with a minimum crew of just 7 flight attendants. This means that not all exit doors will be staffed by the flight attendants to evacuate this wide-body aircraft in case of an emergency. A single flight attendant would be left to evacuate hundreds of passengers through 2 emergency exits on opposite sides of a wide-body aircraft. The basis of aviation safety is redundancy, yet unmanned emergency door exits undermine this critical concept and could result in panicked passengers operating a door in dangerous conditions. Section 365 of the FAA bill requires the FAA to reassess evacuation standards and how the FAA develops them. Mr. Bedford, as part of that assessment, is the FAA evaluating the crew to exit door ratio on wide-body aircraft and whether too few members can impact evacuation times?
Well, thank you for your question, sir. I want to be careful because I haven't studied this issue in detail, so I don't want to misinform you or the committee. I am aware of the requirement to redesign or to address some of the deficiencies in a previous emergency evacuation study that was done. I'm aware that the National Academy of Science provided the FAA with certain elements of the study that they felt need to be corrected in order to have a better proof of concept on our emergency egress procedures. I believe the results of that study are now being incorporated into what would be another retest, if you will. I'm not exactly sure when that's going to get done, but I know the work is being done, and it's important work. We saw, certainly through the emergency issues with the American Brake fire in Denver, difficulty getting folks off the airplane. I think that's as much educating the traveling public that they need to listen to our flight attendants, the safety professionals on board, that not to take their personal effects, to have an orderly evacuation. So I think we have work to do on public education.
Well, thank you for that, and I know that flight attendants and other workers are eager to continue the engagement. Next, I'd like to bring your attention to the workforce that keeps our airports running. Ramp workers, ticket agents, and food service workers play a critical role in our aviation system, but many of them earn poverty wages. That's why Senator Markey and I pushed for the Good Jobs for Good Airports Act in the FAA reauthorization process last time. This bill sought to ensure a living wage for this workforce. Although this bill was not included, Section 438 of the FAA bill, a provision I helped lead, required the GAO to complete a review of the airport service workforce. Mr. Bedford, are you committed to doing what you can to ensure that airports and the FAA oversees are delivering fair wages and benefits to all employees?
Well, thank you for that question. I'll separate it into 2 responses. First of all, we are critically engaged on airport safety, critically engaged on how traffic moves around and egresses through the airport infrastructure, all things on the surface we're absolutely focused on, and making sure both our frontline team and our air traffic controllers have the appropriate tools, as well as our pilots have the appropriate tools to see traffic and avoid traffic. As it relates to the airport wage worker, of course, I support their rights to collective bargaining. I support their rights to advocate for themselves, but the FAA does not really have it's not sort of in my lane here.
Thank you. I want to raise a report that was published in the New York Times where TSA is providing a list of multiple times a week to ICE of travelers who will be coming through airports. The program led to the arrest and deportation of Ani Lucia Lopez Bellosa, a 19-year-old student at Babson College. She was deported despite a court order prohibiting the federal government from moving her out of the U.S. I understand that TSA doesn't fall under your purview, but this issue does involve airport facilities, so I wanted to put it on your radar for further conversations with you. Your efforts in addressing this would be greatly appreciated.
Well, I applaud the work that our TSA agents are doing on the front line to keep our screening safe. So I appreciate what you have to say.
Thank you. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman yields. I now